Women's Wrestling News.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What up, what up, what up? My name is TK Trinidad, and you are joining me for Women's Wrestling Talk, the news edition, and I am not alone. We are the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet because that's just how we do. We have amazing things, and at the end of the show, if you wait till the end, I have a huge announcement about our guest for next week. However, like I said, I'm not alone. As you can see, it's kind of like really weird now because we're like online, so you can see who my guest is, but I have to formally introduce him. So he is like, it's so crazy because when you like know people, like I go by several names too. So my mind's always thinking Darren Young, but we're gonna go with Freddie. So please welcome Freddie. You've seen him on everything: New Japan Pro Wrestling, Primetime, former WWE superstar, an amazing person in general. So please welcome Freddie.
You know, I got to go by my government name, Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser. We were talking earlier. I like to be called Freddie because Fred just sounds so old school, like my relatives down south. Fred, get over here. So I like to be called Freddie. It's more playful. But today's been a busy day because I like to schedule all my like Zooms and interviews just like in one day to knock them all out. So I just got finished with one. And I always correct the interviewer. I love you, TK, but I always correct the interviewer by saying I can't stand the word former. Former just sounds washed up. Former just sounds like I like to be called veteran. So I call myself a WWE veteran. But I like to have fun with everyone. I'll do anything for you, TK. But I like to have fun with the interviewer by saying I'm not a former, I'm a veteran because my career with WWE started when I was doing extra work in 2003, but I ultimately got signed in 2009. So I've had a long journey with WWE.
All right, so let's do a veteran WWE superstar. There, I like that. You know what? I implement that with everybody because I do. It does seem like it's like, okay, well, after WWE, that's it, and we both know that's not the case. There's a huge wrestling world beyond WWE, so we're gonna go with the veteran. I'm gonna change that after we're done. I'm gonna change that in the outline. I might go back and change everybody else's outline, so I like it.
Yeah, but to call yourself a veteran, you've had to have like 10 years or more. So if someone's had 2 or 3 years in WWE and they've been in and out, they couldn't be a veteran, just in my opinion. But we don't need to get into details like that. But before we get started, let me just say on my social media at realfredrosser.com, you can get these exclusive calendars that I'm dropping tomorrow. It was a bucket list of mine to create exclusive photos. Some photos my mom have took, some photos I've worked with photographers. This is the cover, Block the Hate Represent. So I gotta, TK, I'm a shy guy, but I gotta put myself over first. So these calendars will be available tomorrow on my social media at Real Fred Rosser. But yeah, you're the queen. You're the queen. You take over this interview.
No. So like this is what it's about though. Because like I said, like I think last time I saw you was like at the gym. So I like reconnecting and
No, it wasn't at the gym. No, it was at a show. I think it was at the WWE show at LA at Staples Center. It could have been I don't know, but it was like LA Fitness. Oh, I'm not sure, but we always run into each other. And like I said, I'll do anything for TK.
So definitely promote that, and we'll promote that before you get going. However, I'm going to introduce our honorary co-host. So he is like, so if you're familiar with Black Wrestling Alliance, they have an amazing IG page, and I just absolutely love them because they're just connecting. Like the content on. I don't know how he has time. He's like a father. He has kids. The content alone is crazy. So this gentleman I met on Black Wrestling Alliance. We have like a little group and stuff like that. He goes by Blue Magic. So he's one half of the mixed tag show. And he's also the owner of a kind of a clothing store for you wear, which is actually, they have some pretty good shirts on there. So please welcome Blue Magic. What up?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How are you doing?
How you doing?
Good. TK, thank you for having me on. Mr. No Days Off, thanks. Nice to meet you. A big fan, man.
Thank you. I always say don't die with the story and you tell it. So any interview I can pick up, I'm going to share my story.
So
Always.
let's get into, because I think you have like 20 minutes or so. So first, let's get into you. So let's get into, first you said a musical. So tell me a little bit about that. You did a musical earlier this year?
Yeah, I got signed on to this project December of 2019. And I always say in interviews that my biggest inspiration for me doing this musical was actually Chris Jericho, because when I signed on to do this musical, I was 36, and at 26, I wouldn't have done it because I wasn't out to myself publicly. And I always looked at theater, oh, it's for gay people, it's too feminine. But fast forward to at 36, given this opportunity, and I said, it sounds interesting, and I said, Chris Jericho, he's got his own band, he's doing AEW, he's done Dancing with the Stars, so he was a big inspiration in me doing this off-Broadway musical reality TV, which is a combination of theater and reality TV. A lot of it was real, and it's all free on Broadway on demand. Little House on the Ferry, based out of Fire Island, New York, about marriage equality, and I had like the second lead, the second lead role. So it was a big opportunity for me that I wanted to hit a home run ultimately. And I'm telling you, it's 10 episodes you can binge watch, and I'm telling you, it's a mix between The Office and like just pure craziness. So definitely check it out, and it's all on my social media if you want to check it out.
Okay. And now, so one of our hosts, Emily, she's one of the hosts for Primetime. So tell me, because I think the first time I met you was with X-Pac 12360. So kind
Yes.
of tell me about your experience beyond WWE, and let's start with Primetime and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Marquez, the head of Primetime Live. Dave Marquez is a promoter out here in LA, and he's a jack of all trades. He's actually the first guy to book me outside of New Jersey. I never left New Jersey to like wrestle on the West Coast. He booked me back in 2006 or so on the West Coast, first time ever to be a part of an NWA tournament. So I always say I owe it to you, Dave. To you call me to be a part of this opportunity to Primetime Live. And I said, Dave, you can't have Primetime Live without the primetime player, still making moves. And yeah, I've been having a blast on Primetime Live. I've been doing some of my best work of 2020. And I'm truly blessed, I'm truly blessed. And by giving back to the community in this crazy time, I've been not only doing my thing on Broadway and wrestling, I've been offering my social media helpful advice on how to stay in shape during this crazy pandemic. I've got TRX, I've got kettlebell, I've got Bosu ball. I always say health is wealth. So that was my way of giving back to the community, like helping them out every step of the way to make sure they meet their fitness goals, because I know I am. I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready.
Always.
So
That's
as far
crazy.
as,
I'm sorry. I'm
no,
also
no, you
from
can.
I'm also from Jersey, so it's interesting that you bring
What
up.
part?
I'm from Irvington, so
Hey,
like
man, listen, hear me out. I'm from Union Township.
see, I
I
live in
worked
Hillside
at,
now.
okay, you're in Hillside. I worked at the Dairy Queen on Stuyvesant Avenue. You got to know it's a small Dairy Queen
Yep.
walk up window. I worked there up until I got signed with WWE
Really?
because I was the manager. I could do my own schedule. I could
Right.
wrestle on the weekends. Any tryouts with WWE that came up, my manager, who was like my real life friend, would just cover for me and just say, hey, take care of the tryout. I'll cover the store. Mike Schaefer, I owe it to him. If it wasn't for him giving me opportunities to do tryouts, I wouldn't have been a WWE superstar. I would have probably been a firefighter. So at Dairy Queen, Irvington, Stuyvesant Avenue,
Yep.
I was there from high school until I got signed May 4th, 2009 with WWE.
Wow, that's different. I never knew that, and that's like right around the
Yeah.
corner for me. I done driven by that like a million times. That's a very interesting
Exactly. And
fact.
I was there. And I was there. If you were driving by there 2009, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I was a workaholic.
Around those time, I was actually getting ice cream from there, so I probably that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Small
I was a
world.
manager. I was a manager, man. So that's something that like, anytime I'm back home in Dirty Jersey, I call it Dirty Jersey because of Whitney Houston. She would always call it Dirty
Yeah,
Jersey. Anytime
yeah,
I'm back home, I always because the owner still my friend still owns it. You know, he wants to get rid of the
really,
store, but he still owns it. He owns the one there and he owns the one in Union on Morris Avenue. So
right.
like I worked at both of them, but Stuyvesant Avenue was my store, man. So I always go back to like always say thank you. They're like family to me.
That's awesome, man.
So now kind of let's get it. Well, a quick question. So you did mention that you kind of stay. You obviously are. You stay in shape during quarantine. But like, how have you been adjusting to this kind of new way of life as far as 2020 in itself?
Well, first and foremost, I'm listening to science. I'm wearing my mask. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not the sharpest eye in the draw, but if someone's telling me to wear a mask, wear a mask. If someone's, telling me to do everything that we all need to do collectively to like fight this pandemic, I'm doing it. So my vision and my focus has always been on wrestling in Japan. Anytime I was with WWE, I was always on a different tour or not on tour at all. So my goal is, yeah, I'm doing stuff for New Japan Strong here in LA, but I need to go to Japan and I'm going to do it. 2021 is, you know, all I need to do is just show up and do my thing, and I'm going to be hitting home runs out there. So that's my all in goal. So that's what I've been thinking about daily, nightly. First thing I wake up, when I wake up, last thing I think about when I go to sleep, I think about New Japan Pro Wrestling in Japan. So that's how I've been handling this pandemic. I just want everyone to be safe and have a vaccine so I can fly out to Japan.
Okay. And then tell me about the workout though, because you look like you didn't even you took no days off.
I need
Yeah,
some of that. I need some of
I
that
know,
for
right?
pointers.
yeah, the true test, the true grit is like, I like working out by myself, but I also do like a crowd to, it is what it is. I like a crowd, but I do my own thing. It takes since March 15th until now, it takes a lot of grit to really do these workouts by yourself. You're by yourself, you have your music on, but you're doing it by yourself. You got to have that motivation. And thank goodness that I didn't slack or anything. I slowly invested in some equipment. I don't want to turn my home into a gym, but I slowly invested in some TRX, some a Bosu ball for balancing because training on unstable surfaces for me helps me in the ring. Like my stuff in New Japan, even my stuff in Prime Time Live, I've been in the ring with guys that they say their legs are giving out on them, or like, man, like I've got a lot of endurance. They blew up, I don't have that issue, thank goodness, because I'm very conditioned. I'm not as strong. I don't have as much muscle as I used to have, but I'm able to maintain 230 pounds. And just with the training along and the Instagram, a lot of these fitness people, they have their little workouts, and I can steal some stuff to incorporate into my workout. So I definitely feel I'm a lot more conditioned rather than like strong.
Okay. So there was something on your IG, and like I'm like no, not like when I do my interviews, I like to go to IG because it's just one of those things. And there is something you said. Don't
Stalking
bring,
his Instagram.
yeah, I'm stalking your Instagram. Don't bring me home to your parents unless you plan on marrying me because your mom is gonna love me and ask me about you for the or ask you about me for the rest of your life. Like, was there something
Yeah,
behind that? That just caught my eye. I'm just being nosy now. Was there something
no, that's
behind that?
great. TK, I always say, my social media is an open diary to the world. So anything I ever post always comes from the heart with the intent to, inspire, motivate, and educate the masses. So I'm not one of those people that say, oh, I need a break from social media.
Right.
I use it. It's my diary. So anything I post, like my mom, for example, be like, "Oh, Sonny, like when is this happening? When is that happening?" Mom, just look on my social media because once I post it, it's coming from the heart because I can't remember what I post. Like
Right.
"Oh, Sonny, how do I see the musical?" Go to my Instagram, mom. Go to the link in the bio. That's how you can, figure it out. Figure it out. But yeah. So I'm a Scorpio. I believe in all that stuff. I love like, the one thing about a Scorpio is that they're very loyal. But the minute you like, the minute you do us wrong, it's like I don't.
Facts.
Dead
It's
to the
like,
world.
yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta keep it. I gotta keep it PG. It's a full house here, but I gotta. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I always in past relationships I've had always great connection with the family of my boyfriend. I don't like using the word partner, but a boyfriend. And yeah, I'm just a family guy. I'm a type of guy if I'm dating UTK, I'm a type of guy. I'll tell your mom, oh, mom, TK, she's not working out, she's not working out with me. So
Damn.
like, or mom, TK's not getting enough sleep, she's tossing and turning. I'm telling her maybe she needs to meditate or something. She's not listening to me. So that's how I would come across.
Damn. It's like that
Yeah,
though.
yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah, I feel like that's how my
That
wife is with my mom, and it's just like, yo, y'all just gonna tag team me in my own home, like.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. So you mentioned for 2021 you have those goals, definitely going to Japan. Is there anything else that you like want to do for 2021?
You know, the acting stuff out here in LA is very tough. I've been lucky enough, and again, you've got to check my social media to see what I posted, but I've been lucky to do some little projects here and there. I've worked with Dolph's brother. I've done some little projects here. All that is on my social media, so I've been blessed to do that. Anything that comes up, that's great. But my goal is like New Japan, New Japan, New Japan, and I just have to keep speaking it into existence.
Mhm.
And keep doing me. Like I said, my social media is an open diary to the world. I've been lucky again in 2020 to work with some great loyal sponsors. Celsius Energy Drink. I've been drinking them for years, and I've been able to connect with dozens and dozens and dozens and hundreds of different supplement companies, energy drink, CBD, THC. I'm actually working with a bidet company as we speak to do some kind of collaboration. So I've been lucky to strike some really cool opportunities through my social media. Like I said, Celsius being one of them, and working with a bidet company. With the environment, I want to use my social media to say, hey guys, I've experienced a bidet before. You guys should invest in one. People want to not steal, but people want to hoard toilet paper and all that
Right.
stuff. Cleanliness is godliness. So I'm going to be promoting that soon, in
Okay.
2021 or even sooner. So yeah, I gotta grind. I always say just because moves aren't being announced doesn't mean moves aren't being made. So
Facts.
anything I ever anything I ever post, it's gonna happen. I don't post anything and it never happens because then we look like the idiot. So
Yeah.
Right.
anything I post, it's happening. Like I said, these calendars are launching tomorrow. They'll be available for the masses. Well, not for the masses. Limited run, something I've never done. Some great photos. Block the
Okay.
hate, iconic. So I'm gonna keep putting it over until it's all out there.
All right. Yeah, we'll put it on our site too as well. I'll look at your Instagram and get all the
Yeah,
information
look
there.
at
Diary.
because
Definitely.
Diary.
yeah, look into the diary because I can't remember when I posted.
So now, as far as matches, if you were to have a match with anybody, no matter what promotion, like who would you want to have your match with?
Well, there's one person I wouldn't want to have a match with. Uh, you see Kenny Omega, he's doing this thing in AEW. You see he's doing a partnership with Impact. I don't know what he's doing. I know he doesn't know me, but I definitely know him. I've been doing some of my best work on New Japan Strong. Shibata-san, a legend in Japan, said I've had some of the best matches on New Japan Strong. So that only means that I'm going to be going to Japan because of the work that I put in. I just want to make sure that Kenny Omega knows not to come over to New Japan Strong, because if he does, I'm coming for him.
Okay.
He tell him stay back.
I'm
Keep your
coming
distance.
for him.
I
I'm
think
coming
at that
for him.
point,
I would love to see that though. I really would want to see that.
Did you hear that?
yeah,
I'm coming for him. Come
There
on.
you go.
Come on.
2021.
Use
call
this
out.
as a soundbite too, because I need a soundbite.
Oh no. We're definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna have Sarah cut it up.
Don't come to. He doesn't know me. I know him. Don't come to New Japan Strong.
Wow.
Well then. All right. Well, on that note, you just dropped the mic. You have so many great things, and like I said, I'm gonna pull it off your social media, put it all in the tags on IG, all that good stuff. But man, I am so I don't know the right word's not like proud, but I'm like so like it's just so great to see you doing amazing things like the calendar. I'm seeing you all over the place with primetime. The fact that you stayed like just working out through the pandemic is like just the test of like mental toughness, because I
Oh,
just
you have
started like 2 months ago.
I lost like 2 days in.
you you have no idea. I can talk about all the good stuff, but who wants to hear about the bad stuff? People don't want to hear about the bad stuff. Uh, again, it's been tough for everyone, not just, it's been tough for everyone. You know what I mean? So for me, I gotta just keep it moving, because there's people out there that, are, as not fortunate as I am, what I'm trying to say. So I've just gotta be that superhero, the suntan Superman for the masses. And, everyone goes through mental health, it's just how we
Right.
deal with it, So, like, that's why I say daily that my social media is an open diary to the world. So anyone that doesn't have anyone in their family that supports them during the holidays, be a part of my family on social media. You have no idea how much of a difference. Just for example, like for me, to see Randy Orton like a tweet of mine, he doesn't do that a lot. He liked a
Right.
tweet that I put out about, I get asked all the time, why not AEW? Try AEW, try AEW. Well, I've tried not once, but twice. And AEW wasn't my all in goal. It's been New Japan, and I'm doing it. So, Randy Orton liked the tweet. He likes a lot of my stuff. You know what I mean? So I get giddy, and I get, my chest comes. Oh man, that's my boy. A
Right.
lot of other guys aren't doing that. That I've been cool with on the roster, but that's okay. Randy's always been like here. When I came out, Randy's here. You know what I
Right.
mean? Here, he's one of the guys. So for him to like that, I get giddy, and I just know how it is for other people that follow me on my social media, and I retweet their stuff and I comment. I know it lifts them up. I always say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm a friend.
That's awesome,
Boom.
man.
Man,
Got a couple of sound bites from there.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just leave it at that. But thank you so much for like fitting me in. I know you have a whole bunch of interviews to do.
No, I got one
but
more.
yeah,
I got one more with Alicia Tout. I might be saying her name wrong, but have you ever heard of her?
I think it's the chick from Canada, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I got her.
Her name is like kind of French like. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, hopefully I'm not saying it wrong. I might have to YouTube her. But yeah, she's wonderful. I did a convention with her where I did an interview with her, and it was really cool. And like I said, I like to knock out these Zooms, any type of interviews in one day, because like I'm just OCD. I like to just, it's like media day for me. One day,
Yeah.
knock out three. I had one before you, have one after you, and then I'm good to go. Then
Yeah.
I got to do some more work. I have to create some pictures, because like I said, 2020, knock on wood's been lucky, been good for me personally, because I had signed on to do this dating app. It's called the Blued app. So uh I've got to meet deadlines and posts and stuff like that. So I got to create a picture of me with a rose. So I'm going to do it like on the steps, with the lights dim and stuff like that. So I got to post. I've got deadlines to meet. So after my interview after my interview day, then that's when I'll knock out those photos later. So that'll be fun.
No days off.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta hustle. You gotta hustle, and I'm hustling.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to, especially in LA. I treat your interview days like my driving days. I try to keep my driving days all in one because LA.
Yeah.
But thank you so much again. I will definitely. You gave us more than enough to go with. I'm gonna definitely post that Kenny Omega thing and send it to some folks so he knows not to do it or should he. We'll see.
He don't want none of this. He don't know what he's getting himself into if he meets me, because I'm not a young punk anymore. I'm a grown man. Again, I got to keep it PG, but he don't want none of this.
Okay. Ooh,
I'll see you happening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
You have a
Anytime.
rest of the day, and looking forward to that dating app.
Absolutely. Take care. Thank you.
That part. All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Peace out.
All right. Well, let's get into some news. Before we get into some news, though, you can get this IG live popping because I like to just do everything overboard because that's just what I do. So let me get this IG
That's not
live.
bad.
I try. I mean, I remember I had one of the hosts. She's like, "Is there an easier way?" It's like, no, there's not an easy way. This is just
you would think they would have an app where you could just stream everything into one by now, right?
He doesn't like everybody else. Like IG with a lot of
restrictions.
With a lot of subscriptions, a lot of places. I think Shopify is like that as well. They just don't like to play with everybody, and I don't know why. So we'll add you on IG as well if I can get my little thing going. But how cool was that?
That was awesome. I really didn't know that he was from Jersey. Like that just happened all organically today. It just all played out perfectly.
So let's add you on IG Live. We're live. What up, people on IG land?
Let me refresh my page and see what's happening.
I don't think you can do it on your computer.
No, I have my phone right here.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Got it. What up, people on IG land? Oh. And then while we're doing that, refresh my page and see what's happening. I don't think you can do it on your computer. Hey guys. No, I have my phone right here. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Got it. What up, people? There we go. So, for you guys who are joining us, we just had Freddie from Primetime, veteran WWE superstar. He was just calling out Kenny Omega. So if you want to see all that, I'm going to cut it up and put it up on our IG page. But if you want to see all that, it's also up on our YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitch, all that good stuff. But again, if you are joining us, I am not alone. I fortunately had the forethought of saying, hey, let me have another co-host on because, I might be talking to myself and I don't mind talking about myself too much, but, might as well extend it. So he is one half of the show, the Mixed Tag Show. Please welcome Blue Magic. He also has a really bomb clothing line, so we'll get into all that as well. But before we do all of that, I just got this new promo, so I just want to play that because...
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Oh my God.
That's dope. That was dope.
I know, right? And then there's stuff coming to it as well. But, while we're doing that, just want to put it there. And let me add you on IG.
Yeah, I sent the request. I should have brought my AirPods down. That's what I should have did.
No worries. I always forget. I had another person on IG as well. And I totally forgot to add them on. And I'm talking and oh yeah, I should add you on. That's a good thing. So for my folks who are IG Live, we have a special co-host. Blue Magic is in the building. We're also on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube Live. We're on Twitch. We're on all that good
everywhere.
stuff. Yeah, we are everywhere. And like I said before, Freddie had some news there. So we'll have that all. We'll update you. But before we get into all that, we're gonna get into some news. So it's like these pandemic babies are
Yeah,
happening all over the place.
yeah.
Brandy and Cody Rhodes, they announced that they are expecting in 2021. Like, what do you think of that? Like how they dropped it. I put it on Twitter. It was just like epic. It's one of those things that you, when
It
that
was
baby's
very,
born, you remember how they
it was very
announced.
class. They did it with a lot of class. You can tell that they put a lot of thought into it. But when you look at all the production that's been going on at AEW, it hasn't fallen short from that. Like their promos has been on point, in my opinion, when it comes to like video packaging, making announcements, like just like how they did with John Moxley, how he just slipped that in there. Like they find good ways to put it all together. And I feel like this was nothing short of that. Like I enjoyed it. It was done beautifully. Like I don't know. Even my wife was like, "Oh, this is so dope."
I love it. But we have so many baby announcements. So we obviously have Cody and Brandy, Renee and John Moxley announced theirs. Oh my gosh, they
The
just
Bella
had their
Twins had
baby.
theirs.
Yeah, who? Sorry,
The Bella Twins had theirs.
Bella Twins had theirs. Oh my gosh, I just said his name and then I just forgot it again. Oh my gosh, Becky Lynch. They just had their
Yes.
baby as well. So like it's just so many quarantine babies, and it's so funny because I have a cocoa butter company, and this we dropped off some cocoa butter at one of his clients, and she sent me a baby bump, and I'm the first person to know with the cocoa butters, and she's like, your
Right.
cocoa butter is keeping me like together. I'm like, oh my god, can I post this? She's like, post it, but don't tag me. So congratulations to her too. But
That's
that
awesome.
is, yeah, I know that announcement was just like so everything. And so what do you think of the comparison with, I don't want, let me not compare it, because we have Snoop Dogg who's going to be on AEW in the next couple of
Major.
weeks. Yes, Shaq was on there I think last week. There's just, I don't know, but I feel like it's bringing out making WWE do a couple of things. Like what do you think of now that WWE has, I don't know, I guess I don't know if the right word is primetime competition, but what do you think of, AEW and WWE and how that's all going?
I feel like sidebar. I think I'm part of that wrestling community with the babies. I had my baby. He's about to be 2 months on Saturday. Like so, I'm part of that too. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of times with WWE and AEW, their fans tend to forget that it is a competition, even if it's not direct, right?
Right.
And I always say they don't pay us to be like secluded fans, so we have to look at everything. I feel like a lot of times WWE do a lot of things to counteract what AEW does, and vice versa. You have to do that because you don't want to lose the edge, right? Especially if you was at the top of the hill, you don't want to keep looking down and like, oh, I'm at the top of the hill, nobody's gonna touch me. And then it just slowly starts building and building, and then before you know it, they're on the top of the hill with you or trying to knock you down. So I feel like a lot of times that do happen. They try to use NXT more to like redirect the fires, but I don't think NXT's been working, so they've been trying to find other ways to do it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this works out in terms of having Snoop Dogg on there. That's one of their Hall of Famers. Shaq, who's been trying to get a wrestling match from WWE like forever, it could never get it pulled off. So it's going to be very interesting to see this.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I sometimes I do a binge watch because every Thursday we do a live show, Thursdays at 4:00. But it's any one of us. So we have Emily, we have Sarah, so it's any one of us who do it.
Right.
So sometimes I do like a binge watch. So I was like just binge watching wrestling all morning, and I was listening to, I think it was like SmackDown from Friday, and Dolph Ziggler made mention of Jesus and Mero, and I was like, oh, you all just trying to like, I know.
Pop culture references now coming in.
I know, right? He didn't say his name properly, and I don't know if he was trying, but I was kind of insulted like that by that. It's like, if you're gonna insult somebody, then at least say the person that you're insulting them with their proper name. So I don't know if this is done on purpose or not. I kind of felt offended, so I did tweet. But I definitely see WWE is changing up a little bit. So
Not
definitely
enough.
like
Not enough.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I feel like the whole thing with Carmella and Sasha, which we'll get into the TLC pay-per-view coming up this weekend. I feel like the whole thing with Carmella and Sasha, I'm really liking it. I'm liking how they're doing it, and I feel like that would have happened even if AEW wasn't around.
Right.
I don't know. There's something there that I'm really feeling kind of that storyline with that. So
I feel like it's more, like, are we getting to it now or are you getting to it later? Like, I don't want to go too much into it.
Well, we can talk about Sasha and Carmella, but we're gonna get into like the predictions for
Oh,
TLC.
okay. So yeah, I feel like that whole situation, it had to play out that way because who's left on SmackDown, really? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the women division is kind of like slowly dwindling and is like been focused so much. I love Sasha. If you watch the Mixed Tag Show, me and Jenna are like head and over heels in love with Sasha. Like, that's our homegirl, whatever the case may be. But the core four girls, like the four horsewomen, after a while, like, it's like, all right, like, who outside of them, outside of Asuka, can we bring in to draw more attention? And I see that they're trying something different with Carmella, but at the same time, is it really different?
Right. Well, they're not. It's like, I mean, Bianca's there, and I think Bianca's slowly
Too soon for her. Yeah.
I think it's too soon. Man,
not yet.
Let me preface this. Because I don't know if you know, I am a Bianca Belair fan. Like,
I love Bianca Belair.
I love her, and I've known of her back in like the CrossFit track days. Like, so I've like known her before she was like a WWE person. So I'm like such a fan. And so again, the right word is not proud, but it's like I just love like seeing her grow. And I feel like when people say it's too soon, I don't think it's necessarily too soon for her. I think if you give her that like, you know, that ability, she's gonna take it and run with it. Opposed to if you give some other people it, it's like they might not have as much of the self-confidence. So I feel like there are people in the locker room, and I think sometimes we forget that these people are in the locker room because WWE, remember, they went on almost like a mass signage like for 2 years. And they have all these people that we don't even, like I forgot they were there. It's one of those things. So I think especially with the women's division, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like you guys have enough. I don't know if they have the right people in the writing room creating the stories because they have more than enough time.
So here's the thing. I'm not saying that Bianca Belair herself is too soon for her. I'm talking about story-wise, like let her getting to that moment. Let her go through Bayley. You know what I'm saying? Like let it build. Don't put it directly to Sasha because her and Sasha, like they had I didn't really watch it, a great tag team chemistry in terms of like for the troops. So like I feel like there's a good story going with her. You know what I mean? Like her herself, like I love her. Like she's ready. She's meant to be on the main roster. She's a superstar. I hope that WWE stays with that. Because we know how they tend to like get hot on somebody and then like, all right, I don't know if I want to go that way no more. Yeah. So I feel like this is like the perfect time to let Bianca be Bianca and then slowly introduce her to what she needs to be.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So let's hit up Impact real quick. So we had Tasha Steelz on the show the week before last. And she made some predictions, and I also made some predictions, and it seems like we're both right because her and Kiera Hogan, essentially they made it to the finals. So have you been following the tag team championship match with Impact?
I haven't followed Impact. I'm not even gonna hold you. I hear a lot about their women's division, which is why I want to give them a chance. Nothing else.
Have you been not following it because you can't find it, or it's just not enough time in the day? Like, what's your reasoning for it?
My reasoning is kind of like, so here's the thing. I used to try to watch TNA and Impact and everything before, and I used this like this kind of like scenario I've said in the past on Straight Through Sundays, which you're my guest host this Sunday. That when you give something like a restaurant a chance over and over again, they're like new management, change the name, new management, and save the name. After a while, I was like, I'm not gonna keep going to the restaurant if you're gonna keep disappointing me. So it's one of those things.
Well, when is the last time you actually like gave the restaurant a chance?
Show it's been like I dabbed it for like a little bit like 2 years ago, and it was just like, nah, it's not ready yet. Like, really? Yeah.
Like 2 years ago when I was on Pop TV, I really actually I like their storylines better than I like WWE.
Maybe it was that episode. I don't know, but I do want to give it a chance because I heard a lot about the women's division.
Yeah, the women's division is fire.
And my thing is I love in-ring ability. So if your women's division is fire, I want to see it. And then to add on the whole situation with AEW, it's just like, all right, now you're making it really must see. I have to tune in. Like, yeah, teasing Bullet Club stuff and like that. So I plan on watching this upcoming Tuesday.
It's gonna. I think the pairing that Impact is doing, because like for those who don't know, so Impact has kind of been pairing with NWA. So we had Thunder Rosa on the show, and she was the NWA Women's Champion, and Serena Deeb was on the show too, and she's the current champion. But they're both on. Oh my God. I just like totally blanked. I'm on the wrong promotion. That's not what it is. I was like, they're both on Impact. Was like, no, they're not on Impact. What I was trying to make my train of thought was with the tag team division for Impact.
Right.
Jazz is with Jordan Grace.
I saw that.
They're going up against each other. And what I do, and Taya Valkyrie's on there as well. So their women's division compared to even WWE and AEW is very, very strong. Like I feel like if you were gonna put the women's division up against, I think the women's division in AEW and Impact, if they were to collide, like almost like how the red brand and blue brand went up against each other, that would make a good Showtime type thing.
And I felt like that's what they're trying to do with NWA too, like make it a 3-way.
Yeah. I don't know, because we asked Thunder Rosa about that. Like, okay, well, what, like, have you heard anything? She's like, I don't know. I just keep getting calls back. So, like, who's turning down a check? I won't. So
right.
Don't ask questions. Just keep collecting those checks. So, it's a tough one, because that for the Impact division, I believe, like, I don't know. I think because we've had so many of the ladies on the show, I'm kind of biased. I'm kind of biased to everybody. I'm like, oh my gosh, she was cool. But I feel like Tasha and Kiara are definitely like a good tag team match, like a good tag team. Like they when we interviewed her, they knew each other for years, and just how they work, you can tell like they don't have to communicate, like it's already known. So
chemistry's there.
Yeah, and I believe she also said, and I don't know if it's true or not, so correct me of this in social media land, that if they do win, they'd be the first two African American female wrestlers to win a tag team championship for Impact. So that would be a huge thing, and they'd be in the book. So we'll see what happens to that. But it was a great match.
What is the finals?
That is a good question. That's a Sarah question. I don't know. I barely know. Like it's crazy, because I was talking with the team the other day, and I was like, I really want, and so this is like kind of letting everybody behind the scenes. It's like I really want to get, and I'm sure there is a calendar. So if anybody has a calendar, please let me know. A calendar of all the pay-per-view events, because it's just like one of those things where I know, because it's like one of those things where it's like, oh dang, I just missed it, or it's on, but I already had something else planned, or like sometimes I'm recording another show and I'm just like, a
lot of times you look it on Twitter, and you look on Twitter, it's like, oh yeah, I'm watching this promotion, that promotion. And I'm like, how did you find out about this? Like, where do I watch this, and how do I think so I can plan ahead? Like, even when it was when I was booking you, and I was going through my calendar, and I'm like, I just realized, I'm like, wait, TLC is on this day. Oh, like you forget sometimes, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot going on. Like, because even trying to keep up with all the promotions on like regular television. Then you have MLW, and then you have all the indie stuff, which you can access if you just are like good at Fight TV and etc.
Right.
And it's just like, damn, like it's if I got paid to just to do this, it'd be amazing, because then I could make it fit.
So you watch all the promotions?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, because like I also take like a break from wrestling like once a year, where it's like literally like I need to just not watch it at all.
Yeah.
And the great thing is it's just like a soap opera. You could just pick it up as is. But since I did bring up AEW, and I kind of made that faux pas of kind of confusing the two, let's talk about AEW. How are you liking everything? So they had that announcement, but how are you liking the women's division in AEW?
It's lacking. They did better this week. I give them that. They actually made a strong attempt this week with the women's division, but I just feel like overall for the past year, if I had to grade them, I'll give them like a D, maybe a C minus, because I feel like Yeah, they neglect them so many times, but they could have put them in better positions, in my opinion. They could have been used so much more.
So what?
I do like what the things they're doing with NWA, and now hopefully, fingers crossed, with Impact. I feel like they'll go towards that way. I just feel like maybe they need somebody else in charge of the women's division. Maybe Kenny Omega is just not enough time to focus on what he needs to do and focus on the women's division. So maybe they need to find somebody else in there.
What do you think of the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker storyline?
I love it. I love it. Like it seems very personal, even though we know it's not. But like the way that she attacked her this week, and like very like heelish, and I'm looking forward to this. Like this is something that's been brewing for a little bit. We're finally gonna see Britt Baker in this in another feud. We haven't seen her do really much after she did what she did with Swole. So it's good to see what Britt Baker is gonna do next. Because she's a dentist and all.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so crazy that she's still practicing.
Yeah, she's still practicing.
Like,
I'm pretty sure her clientele probably went up at this point.
Well, I think wrestling is just one of those things. It's like a hit or miss. It's like either you watch it or you don't. Because I try to my business partner like, oh, we have, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna make a major announcement about who our next guest is for next Tuesday, which is like huge. And I was like, I managed to book this person, and she's like, oh yeah, like, so where's she from again? I was like, dog, she's like a legendary, like, and it's just one of those things. She's like, oh, okay, good for you. Like it was one of those things. Like, yeah, appreciate it. So
if I think who it is, I would be very jealous.
Who do you think it is? Let's hear.
You said legendary, and I would say Jazz.
We've had her on the show twice.
Oh, really? I'm jealous. But it's not her?
It's not her.
Okay.
Jazz is amazing. We had her on the show. I get the last 3 years really mixed up because 2020 really mixed up. But it was the year,
doesn't count.
Yeah, it was the year that they had All In, and they just had All In, and Jazz came on the show after because they had the NWA championship for the men, but there was no NWA championship for the women.
Right.
So she came on the show. I don't know if it was planned or not, but she cut this most like crazy promo about saying like she's still the champion. She's right here. Whoever comes in and wants to challenge her, like and literally like gave me goosebumps.
I think it was 2018.
It might have been 2018. I don't know.
Because I actually went to All In. I drove to Chicago.
Okay, so no, I think it was the one in Chicago. Was she? I don't
think
Was she in it?
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, so then it was that one, the one in Chicago.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she just did this like crazy promo, and it was amazing. So yeah, she's everything, and I love.
I'm excited now.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's coming. We're close. But actually, speaking of Jazz, so she is actually one of the coaches for New Mission Pro Wrestling, which is run by Thunder Rosa, and they just kind of crowned their new champion, which is La Rosa Negra. And I didn't get to see this. It's kind of one of those things like you were just saying, where it's just like, dang, like I missed it.
Right.
And it's just like, I'm glad that this happened, and she actually got her belt from Medusa, which is crazy. So like Mission Pro Wrestling the concept is just crazy. So like, do you know much about it or?
I don't know much about it. I've seen Rebels about it. Like I'm really seeing like for some reason, right? I feel like the past 2 months, a lot of the community of wrestling starts to grow more and more. Like you start seeing more and more around you. Like, yo, I didn't know all of these things was happening. Like this past week, I didn't know like AW had a wrestling school until like 2 weeks ago. And come to find out, I'm following one of their students, and they just graduated their first class on Saturday. And he joined us this past Sunday on the Trace Sundays. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like the Nightmare Factory already had a whole nother class graduate. Their first class graduated. So like a lot of things happen, and it seems like we just be like lost to it.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it's a lot to even when you think of just booking guests for just you would think that for women's wrestling that there's like, okay, you could probably book everybody in about a year, 2 years, and we're going into our 3rd year. Again, I don't know what year it is. We're going
it's 22. It's 2020 part 7.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. It's like we've been around for like 3-ish years, I think, and we've only had a few people like repeat, but everybody else has been new. And so it's just so amazing that like there's just so many women's wrestling is just like growing to that extent. But again, with so much growing, they need to be having matches somewhere, right? So we only have so much on television. Then you have a whole indie scene, and they have the indie scene worldwide. It's just amazing. It's crazy. It's amazing, and it's really hard to follow. So congratulations to Mission Pro Wrestling. But let's kind of quickly, before I make my announcement, so we can get off in a timely manner, because I could talk forever about some of these topics. Let's talk about TLC real quick, as far as like who you have and why you think it's gonna work. So let's go with the Fiend versus Randy Orton. What are you thinking?
The Fiend, he owes him this receipt. It has to go down. Like the first time, it should have went Orton's way. So for the Fiend to come back and retract this way, like he burnt down Sister Abigail's house. You gotta get the comeback.
Right. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure, and again, if you know or somebody knows in social media land, if you guys know in social media land, as far as Bray Wyatt, who comes up with the ideas? Like I'm pretty sure he does, and he's just so great at it because it's just like pinpoint. It's absolutely amazing, but not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you come up with one, take a break, have a baby,
have another one,
and then like just come up with another one, and then just have it just be so like amazing.
Right. And I feel like the WWE haven't appreciated like they should have. Even with if you think about the original Bray Wyatt character, right? When you had the Wyatt family and stuff like that, I feel like that had so much potential and was just left alone. Like I was at the WrestleMania when he faced Orton, and he had the worms pop up on a ring, and you know what I'm saying? Like it was so like mind blown. It's like, yo, he's playing great mind games and he lost. Like what? Like how you do all of this and still lose?
The walk-up song.
Yes. That he got the whole world, like he was over. Yeah. And if somehow you dropped the ball in that, like for me, I feel like Bray Wyatt, it's all his thoughts because they're so different from everything else that's happening on the roster. It has to come from him.
Yeah, I agree. I have that feeling too. Somebody in IG Live said, "What happened to Pro Wrestling Women's Weekly?" So Pro Wrestling or Women's Wrestling Weekly, which was the show before, it got changed. We moved to another network, and another network, different name, slightly different name, I guess. You can check out the website. The website is almost done, but it's active. www.talkpod.com. So that is our name. That's our official name. So essentially, we just moved to a different network, and we had to change the name. But we changed it slightly because we can legally do that. So that's how I have to do that. So yeah, I agree with you. I definitely have the Fiend as well. What about Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles?
AJ Styles. But that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of like a bias when it comes to AJ. Like that's my man's. That's like one of my favorites. I feel like he's really the best in the world right now, and I hate seeing him take so much of a back seat for so long. When you can tell, he can do so much more. And I feel like Drew has had his time. I wasn't a very big fan of this run in 2020 for him. No disrespect to him. He's done great work, but it's just like I don't know. It didn't connect with me in a way. The losing to Randy and then bringing it back right away, like a lot of his stuff was just like, all right, cool. I just feel like it's time for AJ to come back.
I feel the same way, but when AJ was cutting his promo against Drew, and he was saying like it took him 20 years, I'm like, bro, but like you were on this indie scene for an extensive period of time as well. Like, not to say it's not like a bad thing or like it trumps it. But I'm just like and sometimes I take these promos personally, so I get why I'm saying it, but I'm just kind of voicing my displeasure. I'm just kind of like, bro, you were in the same boat. Same boat. So like, how can you say that? But I am kind of biased too, but I'm biased for a different reason. So I do love AJ Styles, and I love just his overall, like he's just a talented wrestler. Smooth. But I feel like Drew McIntyre, we got to interview him. So for a lot of folks who don't know, I was one of the co-hosts for X-Pac 12360. So I got to work with X-Pac for a period of time. And one of his guests was Drew McIntyre. I had to pick up Drew from the airport. So we
Okay.
got to talking about his career, and this was like right before he was like in NXT for like a hot minute, and then he went to WWE, and we got to talk about his career, and he was just like so like passionate, essentially like Freddie, who was just on the show, just like this is what's gonna happen.
Right.
So I kind of feel like I just have one of those things where it's like I just want him to win just for
Yeah.
that, because he had
Yeah,
that
the
passion.
connection. Yeah, the connection
Right.
with him.
So it's a bias. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler against Asuka, and I think it was Dana Brooke, right? Dana
No,
Brooke.
they
they
didn't announce who's the replacement.
Hmm.
I kind of know who's the replacement already is. I don't think I'm allowed to say anything. That's why I was like I kind of know the scheme of that whole match. So it's like
Okay.
I kind of want to skip it because I don't want to spoil it for nobody.
Okay, well, don't spoil it, but I feel like I'm gonna say mine because I don't
Okay.
know. I feel like Asuka and whoever Asuka's with, unless Lana comes back, which I feel like. So here's my problem with Lana. So I haven't been complaining about Lana, but I feel I think I was talking to somebody about this. So Lana, and now I'm on the side of this was all planned. So, when they're putting her through the table like 7 or 8 times, I was kind of getting upset. I was like, damn, like how much is too much? And I think Lana is not necessarily the same level of Bray Wyatt, but she also comes up with these ideas and a lot of them stick. And I kind of feel like she came up with this idea to the point where it's just like, of course, if you put her through the table 1 or 2 times, it's like, all right, well, cool. Of course, to Nia Jax, she's not going to win. So she deserves to. But when you do it 9, 10 times, it's like, okay, now that's just getting ridiculous. Now she brought our feelings involved where it's like, now you're kind of siding with Lana. And then they did the Chronicles. I don't know if you saw that. I saw the Chronicles, and now I'm all emotionally tied with Lana. I'm like, oh my God, you were doing ballet. The lady was calling you fat. You're going through all these emotions, and now you see why she is the way she is. Now I'm invested into her, and now I'm getting upset that WWE is like treating her this way. When now I think that was the game plan all along, which I'm very irritated by. But kudos to Lana, because I'm pretty sure she was the one who came up with it. So I kind of feel like she might, because she wasn't like officially announced she is injured, right?
No, she's injured. She has
like for real injured.
Yeah, ankle issue.
I kind of feel like she might figure something out. Because remember that last time she had an injury and she came out in crutches.
Right. Maybe she will still pop up. Maybe she will. Again, I don't know.
I know you can't say that. So
yeah.
Anyway, I think either if Lana doesn't appear, somebody else will appear, and I think Asuka and whoever is going to take it. But I am feeling Nia Jax. I am feeling Nia Jax because I have a feeling towards her, which is good because before, like I wanted to root for her, but she just didn't do it for me. So now I just like that she's just embracing that bully mentality. So kudos to her.
What do you feel about Shayna Baszler? Like, don't be ignoring my girl. Shayna.
So I love. So again, I feel like low key I discovered some of these people, and I know I don't because I saw Shayna when she was in UFC. She did like it was kind of the UFC Tough Enough version. So I remember Shayna when like Ronda was training her, and I watched that whole series. So like when she popped up on, I think it was like Toto Bella's, and then she popped up at NXT. I'm like, oh my gosh, like good for her. Like I think it's a smart move, longevity in career. She's staying true to who she is. So definitely kudos to her. But I feel, I don't know, like I was for her with NXT, and I feel like I'm not
as invested in WWE.
Right, in WWE.
I understand that because like for me, I first saw her was during the Mae Young Classic. And to me, I wasn't a fan. I'm like, yo, what is she doing here? Why did she win? She's not ready. Like, as a fan, you critique it, like she's not ready, this and that and the third. When she hit NXT, I seen her growth. And when I seen her growth, I just felt like that's my girl. Like, yo, being at the takeovers and watching her and Kairi Sane going at it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, yo, it pulled me in. So like I root for her heavily now.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely like I want to see more of her. I just feel like sometimes they usually say this about like WNBA players. Like you'll see WNBA players, or you'll see women basketball players or college female basketball players. They're dunking, they're doing all this stuff, but for some reason, when they get to WNBA, you don't see them doing all that.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like, but they can do it. It's not like they can't. And I feel like sometimes with when some NXT folks go to the main roster, I don't know if it's the writers. I don't know if it's because they feel it's a bigger stage. I don't know if it's like mind games. There's just something like happens, and it hasn't totally happened to Shayna. Like obviously she's maintaining and she's in a pay-per-view, and you know, but I feel like they really missed, because I think Ronda Rousey's contract is like officially over because it was a 3-year contract, right?
I think it's like over the beginning of next year. I think it is, right?
So
she worked last year, then she took this year off, and then it's next year.
Okay. I think I don't know. I
Whatever.
said,
I'm not missing her. So
yeah. So here's the thing. I feel like before her contract is ended, and I've said this again, I've said this before too, that there should be like a UFC version of the 4 horsewomen on WWE, because they can do it.
Right.
So
we teased it. 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen, but
right. But I think they can. I think they can at least do it once. Like just on a mainstream level, WWE will get so much of a pop from everywhere else as far as like sports fans and stuff like that, or UFC fans. So I think with Shayna, they bring up some people, and like they had a faction that they could have brought up with them, even though that maybe the whole faction wasn't necessarily ready. But when you bring them up alone, it's like you have to recreate.
Yeah, you gotta remind people and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's okay with Nia Jax, Shayna, but I'm not really. I feel like
it's cool Shayna, for the moment.
it's cool for the moment. We'll see how it all goes. So we have Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, KO.
We know who's gonna win this. Like, I love Kevin Owens. That's my guy. But I used to be a Roman hater. Like, I used to hate his character. The change has been very well for him. I'll give him that kudos. Like, this change is very good. I like this Roman Reigns. I hope he doesn't change, or to make it cheesy in some way or anything like that. But he's gonna win. Like,
I am the same. Well, actually, let me preface that. I was not a Roman Reigns hater. I just didn't feel. I just liked him because he looked hot, but I didn't feel any ways like. Right? Yeah, the character wise, it's just like, okay, like I'm not connecting. So
that's the same thing. I don't hate the person, just the character.
Yeah, this version I absolutely love to like. It's the same thing as Lana. It's like, why are you talking to your cousin like that? Like, just because you had a table, it's the amount of disrespect is just so unnecessary. So the fact that I have these emotions, like just the way he is, just like the dominance is cool, but it's also like, all right, bro, like you get it.
Overconfidence is just like it's like putting the chef kiss on the whole character. Like the way he's talking to Kevin Owens' family, like that was dope. And that's like a Paul Heyman touch. You can tell that's like a Paul Heyman touch. Like, make sure you do it this way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Paul Heyman has that gift somehow.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I'm feeling him. And yeah, I also have Roman for this one. And then New Day and the Hurt Business.
I hope and pray that it goes to Hurt Business. But I could see it not going to Hurt Business, and somehow Cedric Alexander get kicked out for overconfidence, like him costing them the match or something, which would be stupid because the Hurt Business has been one of your shining points throughout this whole fourth half of the pandemic. They've been very strong. They've been very dominant. Y'all had some missteps with them, and they still survived. You know what I mean? Like, to touch them in, like to break them up would be like completely madness. But what else is new?
So Dylan Matthews on IG Live, he said he's going for the Hurt Business, and then he also says Roman should never be a baby. I agree. Roman should never be a baby face.
Ever. Nope.
Yeah. And the Hurt Business should. Oh man. So
they should.
I have so many feelings towards this. Because I'm
the New Day's not the same.
I know this one. So I have so many emotions to it because like I'm the type of person that like I almost like I'll either not invest or I'll over invest. There's no in between. So with the New Day, I'm definitely over invested because one, like Xavier is like one of my friends. So I'm just like, I have to support the homie. But then it's like, why is Biggie on a hold? Like I don't like that fact. I do like that Biggie is getting chances to do like his own thing, being being independent by himself. But I feel like he could have done that on the same brand.
He
I
could
don't
have.
know.
They did it with Kofi. Like
Right.
Kofi was champion, and it didn't affect what they had going on. It was just
Exactly.
one of those things where they had to do something for shock value. You know what I mean? And that's very annoying because you didn't have to. You don't have to break
Right.
up every team.
But technically,
Granted,
they're not broken up because he's still part of the New Day,
well,
right?
he's part of the New Day, but now they done changed his music. You know, Nexus is
Yeah, I saw that.
closed. Nexus is closed. They make him change his gear.
You think so? 'Cause I did like his outfit this last. He had like Obama and somebody else on his
That was
thing.
from the during the protesting. They had that on. They each had on like something
Oh,
similar.
that's an old one. That's not even a new one.
No, it's not new.
Oh,
That's what
boo.
I'm saying. Like they're gonna eventually have him change his gear, and it's
Yeah,
just like,
here it's over. It's
so what's the point? I get it. They still do the New Day podcast, which is cool.
right,
Like
right.
that's fine, but they're not the New Day no more.
Yeah. Dylan says Biggie needs to be the one who takes it from Roman whenever
Yeah,
that would be interesting. Like
yeah,
I wasn't a feeling Biggie's loss, but I feel whoever's possibly writing this storyline that if you were invested in New Day, you probably invested in Biggie
yeah.
and you want him to win immediately, but obviously it's going to take some time. So I didn't like the fact that he lost, but I like the fact that how they did it, like, it provided emotion because I'm still
Right.
talking about it. So
And
kudos
plus,
to that.
Biggie about to win the IC title. That's not
Yeah,
that's not for
that's
TLC.
I'm not. Oh, I didn't see it come up on when I looked it up, but it might be
Maybe
because
maybe they announced it Friday. Maybe they announced it on
yeah,
Friday.
that's probably what it is. Because there was these matches that I just looked up for today. They seem kind of light. I was like, this is all it for
Right.
TLC. So, but here's the thing: if Biggie wins it, then I feel that New Day should retain theirs, just for like almost like a cross promotional brand thing.
But wouldn't it be even different if Big E won his IC title and then Xavier and Kofi lost their titles, and then it's like kind of like that awkward thing in the backstage where they come across each other. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean that would be interesting, but on a more emotionally tied note, I don't want to see that. But
of course you don't. Nobody wants to see that, but that's great writing.
I hope whoever is listening to this does not take that idea, but it is a good idea nonetheless. Tell everybody about the show. Tell everybody the show that I'm going to be on before we get out of here.
No problem. I'm part of the Mixed Tag Show with my co-host Jenna. We drop episodes every 2 weeks now. We're gonna drop an episode this week, like a pre-show for the TLC, and then a post-show for the TLC as well. I host Straight Through Sundays on IG Live, on the Mixed Tag Show on Twitter and Instagram, where I bring on different hosts. This week we have TK Trinidad joining us. Well, I just dig and talk to you about either wrestling, personal life, whatever. Straight shoot. Never know what we're gonna talk about. I do also have a clothing line. Well, not a clothing line, but I produce clothing, like customized clothing. I have like this Black Lives NWO Matter situation going on. I have different ones. Just head over to For Your Wear, FORURWEAR.com. You can see different merchandise I have there. Or if you want to do something customized for yourself, hit me up in my DMs and I'll get it done for you. That's basically it.
Boom.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. It's one of those things where this year, and this is kind of like beyond the show. This year, I feel like so many stuff has happened, and it's ironic that we have to talk after the show because I need a t-shirt person. So I think a lot of things happen for a reason.
Of course.
So for my folks who are joining us, this is Women's Wrestling Talk, the news edition. So we have different guests. So we had Freddie, also known as Darren Young, a veteran from WWE. He's on
Jersey.
Primetime. Yeah, the New Japan Pro Wrestling. He just called out Kenny Omega, so we're gonna repost that because he was giving straight shots in that 20-minute little set. So I'm really happy he came on. So thank you for him for coming on. And I wish I could put like a drum roll somewhere, but thank you. I am like so excited about this guest, and I'm gonna draw it out because I guess I can.
Oh, come on.
So excited about this guest. So just a little backstory. I have been trying to book this guest for a very long time, almost pretty much as long as the show has been around.
Wow.
And just life happens, whatever. And just kudos to, I guess, me just being persistent and all this other stuff. And it's just one of those things where what I have to say to folks now is never think that you're not ready for a certain situation, or if you're booking guests that, they're too big for your show or any of that stuff, because you just never know. So the guest that we're having on for Tuesday is Trish Stratus.
Wow. That's major.
That is absolutely major. I am really excited. You could tell I was beyond
I'm excited.
on the show. Yeah, she's so amazing. Of course, we had that Canadian connection, like just like how you had the Jersey connection. So that made things,
yeah, you are seeing the flags. I can't wait to talk to you on Sunday. I feel like there's so much to dig into.
Oh boy. Okay.
I can't wait for Sunday.
I don't know. But yeah, so Trish Stratus is gonna be on next week. Really, really excited about that. And
that's awesome.
Just in time for Christmas. And there will not be any more. So you are on the last Women's Wrestling Talk News Edition for the year. The next one's gonna be yeah, and that's
I'll put that on the resume.
Yeah, just call it a day. Because I let them. I was like, you know what? I'm not, because both Thursdays are Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah,
and
Christmas.
Like, why I'm trying to book
even New Year's Eve. Yeah.
I might hop on and do something live. I might not book something. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. But yeah, there's not going to be officially a Women's Wrestling Talk News Edition until January. We still are going to have shows every Tuesday. Thank you again for coming on. I will be
no problem.
Yeah.
Don't forget Sunday is Eastern time, not your time.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good note, because we'll have to
5 p.m. Eastern. The Mixed Tag Show live.
Eastern. Okay. Cool.
5 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So it's 2 o'clock for you, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off air. I definitely on my calendar. But thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. Where can people find you? What's your social media?
All my social media is at Blue Magic Grind, spelled how it sound. Again, Mixed Tag Show for Instagram and Twitter for my podcast, and For Your Wear, FORURWAR on Instagram and Twitter.
Thank you. And you can follow me. No problem. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Make sure that you are following us on all social media. So on IG, WW Talk, Twitter, WW Talk Pod. Our new website is up. It's not officially done. So if you want to go, don't make any comments because we're not all the way there yet. www.talkpod.com. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching later on, make sure to comment, because I definitely want to hear your comments, because, again,
feedback is great.
Yeah, feedback's great. I'm just shooting, whatever I feel is great. Other than that, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Ooh, let's end that. Boom. Let's end this live. Thanks, Dylan. Yes. Share. Okay. It's so crazy. I'm always very cautious with this IG live because one of our hosts didn't save it. So it went live, and then it's like, well, where's the show? She's like, well, I didn't see the save button. It's like, no. There's one for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So do you save the video, or do you put it straight to the IGTV?
I put it straight to IGTV.
Okay. Yeah, I try to save it. I'm gonna start saving it, because I think starting next year, and I'm even